Hello and welcome to the Hypnosis Academy. Today I'm talking about statement analysis, and I'm talking about why it's important to know if your client is lying to you or not. I'll tell you all about it on the other side. So I came across statement analysis a good while ago when I was watching this gentleman who was I can't remember his name, but he's a fantastic statement analyst, and he was analysing the statements made on the Madeleine McCann case. And through his analysis, what was very clear was that there was nasty things afoot, and the parents were guilty. Okay. So that wasn't, that was the outcome. But the analysis just blew my mind. Actually looking at the way that words and sentences are formed, where things are deleted, where things are distorted, where things are exaggerated. And wow, I thought, well, I'm gonna have to get into this. Why? Because when you work with clients, all the time clients are making statements to you, all of the time. And many times you discover later that those statements were not true. This has happened to me oodles of times. I talk to the client at the beginning, they tell me X, Y, and Z, and then as we get in, I discover that it was A, B, and X, Y, and Z really wasn't the issue, or it didn't happen. So what I thought was, well, if I could be able to kind of highlight where there's something wrong. It isn't necessarily that you just listen and go, well, that's a lie. It's almost like you listen with your head on of your statement analysis and you say, I need to ask more about that. There's something wrong with that sentence. There's something wrong with that statement. Now, there are tons of other ways of identifying something wrong or that something needs to be investigated, whether it's an emotional surge that you get, whether it's repeated words, whether it's incongruence in the way that they tell you something, they're saying yes and they're shaking their head no, or they're saying no and they're shaking their head yes. There are lots of different ways, and really over time it's kind of like understanding your client becomes intuitive. You intuit such a lot. If I were looking at a client, I would say, right, we need to look further into that. If you had asked me why I knew that, it would probably take me a while to try and work out what it was that came across. It's kind of like it becomes installed on an unconscious level. But statement analysis is very powerful. Now, it's normally done with written statements, but when people are talking free flow, you can take a lot out of it. And so what happens is that when you're talking with your client and your client tells you how something is, we mentioned this before, where somebody exaggerates something, like, and they say, God, really, 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 really love my best friend. You think, okay, that's an awful lot of reallys there. What's going on? What is wrong with this picture? It's not right. It's not balanced. A lot of times they'll delete parts of a story. They'll skip time. Right? This is very powerful in statement analysis, because the idea of statement analysis is this: people don't want to tell lies. It's rare that somebody out and out lies. Why? Because they're extremely uncomfortable about it. What they would rather do is omit things or say it in such a way as it doesn't really mean what you think it means. It's almost like playing with words. It's like the words, actually. I actually arrived there at 3. Right? So when somebody says that, I actually arrived there at 3, there's something, why did they need to put the word actually there? Because I arrived at 3 is I arrived at 3. Okay? I actually arrived at 3. There's something more there, isn't there? There's something more. Why would you say actually? When in fact, I actually arrived at 3, although I wasn't supposed to arrive at 3. There's more information. So it's when you hear these extra words put in that you say, okay, I need to ask a little bit deeper into that. I need to get into that a little bit deeper. So if you like that sort of thing, definitely have a look at statement analysis. And I know I've talked about statement analysis before, but what I'm aware of is that the more that since I've kind of, and I've only learned it on a level that I can use. Okay, I'm not going in to like very deep levels, but really the surface level is fantastic for what we do. I find it's helping me over and over again. When I listen to politicians now, it's, oh my goodness. I mean, politicians are obvious and blatant, but also you hear such a lot. And then when people are talking to me, my mind's going, why have they used that word? Why have they said that in that way? Yeah. Why have they invoked God on this? Honest to God, you know, a really and truly. And I mean, one of the things that came through on the McCann case was when somebody just said, "Did you do it?" Okay, did you do it to the man? Very creepy man, the dad, and he said, "No," and that's an affirmative no. And the man rightly said, if he just stopped at no, that would have been a great denial, but he didn't. He had to add something, you know. Why did he have to add that? You see, what happens is when people don't believe themselves, they have to bring in the artillery. They either bring in God or they're bringing something, you know. They have to, you know, and that's a definitive no. I think that would, rather than affirmative no, because that would be really weird, wouldn't it? With something like, and that's a definitive no. Okay? Why would you need that? No. No is very strong. Yeah, the same as yes. So what it does for us as therapists, it guides us to know where we need to dig in, where we need to find out more. That's what statement analysis is about. It isn't saying that person's lied. It's saying that there is some level of deception. Right? Somebody's playing a game, not saying the whole truth. They're deceiving. But it doesn't mean they're lying like they did it. You know, you're talking about a murder or whatever. It doesn't mean they did it, but they have some information that they're not sharing with you. It's like when people say, and that's about all I can tell you. That means they've got more to tell you. That's about all I can tell you. I'm not allowed to tell you anymore. Yeah? So, you know, it's not like that's all. There's nothing more to tell. That's not the same as, and that's all I can tell you. So there are loads of these little triggers that stand out that make you think, I need to ask more. That's all you can tell me. Is there any more? Is there some more that needs to be said? You said it's about all, so there's a little bit left. What have you not shared? Right, well now that with a client is fantastic, because clients won't give you everything straight away. Sometimes you don't want everything. I often say to them, you know, in the first session, you don't have to tell me all your deep and dark, dirty secrets. Keep them to yourself for a bit and then share them later. So I let people off the hook a little bit, but then there's times when you do need to know the information you need to know so you can help them in the right way. Yeah? Okay, so statement analysis, definitely worth a good sniffing about. I'll speak to you all later. I love you all. Bye-bye.